What is up? My name is Paul Roseman. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I suggest going back and watching the previous videos done to this car. There's been a crazy amount of work that's gone into this thing. In this video, I think we'll be going through and tackling installing all of these custom panels back in, cleaning things up, making everything look nice. So this is going to be a ton of work for me to do. Hopefully it goes by quickly for you. Here we go. So what I like to do is actually start at the back and then work my way forward. Same with the whole car. So let's start at the back and always work your way forward. So I think we'll start back here and start getting this section welded back in for this custom panel. So I got to first clean up the underside because it is all rusty. And then we'll clean up this section and then get all welded primer on this thing. And then we'll start welding it on. Fun. All right, I want to hop in here real quick because I'm super excited about this. This is a perfect example of why we are using weld-through primer before we even start welding. You can see that this panel does not have it on it. So I'll go ahead and clean up that surface rust and we'll get weld-through primer sprayed on and we'll have that issue again. Cool. All right, so I got the panel on. We are looking really good. I just have some clamps holding it on right now. What I'm going to do is just weld a few tacks into the panel just to hold it in place, and then I will get the actual fender on so we can test fit it. Just make sure everything's looking really good before we weld it in fully. Here we go. All right, so super exciting. We got the fender on. It looks so good with that custom panel in. I will go ahead and get the rest of it welded up because it fits really good. Really happy with how this is coming out now. And it feels really good moving forward with stuff instead of having to move backwards to fix things. So yeah, I'll go ahead and finish welding it up now. Sweet. Okay, so with that tacked up, before I actually go through and actually seam weld all of that, I want to try and get some more of the custom panels that we're on. So this guy used to sit right here, like that, and I do not like how it's sitting right over here on this section where it overlaps that. I think I'd rather have the panel be made where it follows this line and then comes up and over. And so I'm going to go ahead and now make a new panel right here. Okay, so I just taped this in real quick and then took my nail and then used my nail to follow the outline of the metal that's underneath. So now I'll just trim that off and we'll have the template. Okay, that is looking good. So I went ahead and did the other side. Now we got to cut that out of metal and then we can bead roll it. All right, so with our new panel made, we got to go ahead and throw the bead roll on. I already traced out the outline of the shape that I'm kind of going for. And then I dialed in the actual bead roller right here with a test panel, just so we can match the angle at the bead that's being put on right here. So I think that's pretty close to what it was. You can see there's barely any gap there. So pretty happy with that. So I'll go ahead now and throw this guy up and we'll roll it on. All right, so here we are now with the bead roller on these. go ahead and throw them on mock-up and see how they're looking. All right, check those out. Those are looking really good in there. I'm super happy with how they came out. They are a little warped, as you can see. That's not a big deal because when I go to weld it, it will be clamped down, and then the heat from the welding will cause that to dissipate. So I'm not super worried about that. If we wanted to keep the original shape, we could have pre-stretched the metal and then gone through with the bead roller, but we don't need to worry about that because, like I said, we're welding. All I got to do now is go through the underside of this, clean this all up, and then we will spray some weld-through primer on both sides of the panel, unlike the previous panel, and it'll be all ready to go for welding. So fun. Really happy with how those are coming out. All right, so these are now tacked in on both sides. I'm really happy with how those are coming out. I like the shaping to match the lower radiator support down there and everything, instead of doing the old way that they had it, where they overlaid the panel and stuff. I think this just comes out a little bit cleaner. It flows a little bit nicer, and then not only that, how it comes together, I think, is a lot nicer too. But yeah, moving forward, eventually I'll have to actually seam weld all of this up. That can wait. Same with this guy. This guy all needs to be seam welded up still, but I'm going to try and hold off on that until we are ready to start doing like the full clean pass. I want to get everything in that needs to be in, and then go through, do a crazy long welding day or two. But yeah, moving forward, let's talk about the lower radiator support. So this is the old lower radiator support that they had in. You can see they moved these brackets in. So the lower radiator sits on those brackets, and normally they sit right here, and they move them into right here. So if we come back to the brand new one, you can see where they actually sit, and I think I'm going to try and leave them where they are because it just is super clean. Why mess with a good thing, you know? So unfortunately, here is the radiator, and we can see where it was mounting with the old bracket location. Unfortunately, there's not enough room to cut these off and then weld them right on the edge and have it work. So I'm gonna have to find someone actually that will make plates that go right here, so I can square this off, and then we can move that guy to like right about there. So unfortunately, I can't weld aluminum, so I got to now try and find someone that can help me do that. Fun. All right, I got this seam welded up and looking pretty good for the most part. There's still a little bit more cleanup work to go, but for the most part, I think it's looking pretty good considering what it is. For the front here, this section was here. I do not like how this folds around and then meets up over here. So I think we will remake that panel and try to make it so it flows in a little bit nicer and a little bit seamless. So here we go, let's make that panel. With that looking so much better, let's go ahead and move on to the other side. Before I actually start on that, I'm going to fix something that's been bothering me for quite some time now on this car. These are the holes for the fender to mount to. Boom and boom. Unfortunately, it seems like someone drilled them out and then retapped them a size too big. So this is the size that's been going in there, and this is the size that should be going in there. So we'll go ahead and get that hole welded up and then retap the correct size. All right, as you can see, I went ahead and put the car actually on the rotisserie. I think this will be a lot easier. So it was at this point where I started to notice some rust coming through the undercoating of the car, and this is where things take quite the turn. All right, so my guess, what's going on here is the previous shop that had this, they sprayed a water-based product on top of the bare metal without spraying any primer or anything. So the water from the water-based product is just trapped against the bare metal, causing the whole underside to start rusting. And obviously we can't just do all of this nice work to this car while the underside is rusting away, so there's no option left but strip it all down and start fresh. All right. I picked up one of these little microphones. You guys got to let me know in the comments how you like it. If you don't like it, first to go back to the old mic that I was using. But as you can see, we got that thing stripped down. That has been one of the hardest things I think I've ever done on a car, stripping the underside of this thing down. It has been an absolute nightmare. But we are past that and moving on. So there are a few dents left in it. I'm going to start pulling those dents out. And they're not bad. There's just a couple of them. The only concern I have about like these rail dents are that it's a rail, so it's a bit thicker metal. And thicker metal is usually harder to pull out. And then I might go over some of the little bit of seam sealer just to smooth it out so it looks a little bit nicer. The car then will be sprayed with a sealer and then an undercoating, and then we're actually going to paint the exterior color on the bottom of the car. So that should look pretty slick when it's done. Here we go. All right, so I got a lever bar attached to this now. I had to weld these guys on. This is hardened steel, so just a normal stud gun was not making enough contact with this. So hopefully welding it on will be strong enough. Like I said, this is hardened steel, so pulling that out is gonna be really difficult. Yeah, hopefully this will work. I don't think it's gonna work, but I figured I'd give it a try. I might have to weld on a whole bunch of different tabs here. Yeah, not sure yet. Let's give it a go and see how this goes. All right, let's see if I can show this on camera here. I got this middle section right here out. This is still in. I don't know if that's showing on camera at all, but right about here it's still in. That's out, and then that's still in. So I'll go on and weld some new tabs and see if we can get the rest of this. All right, that is looking so much better. Hopefully that's coming across on camera. Go ahead and get this guy now and we'll be good. All right, I think that'll do for this. I don't want to get super crazy. I mean, you're never even going to see any of this, but the gap that's there now is very minimal. And with the undercoating and everything on top of that, I don't think you'll really see much more. So yeah, cool. We'll go ahead and start moving forward with this. We're gonna start planning the next steps. All right, so bear with me here. It is currently 1:20 a.m. So I just finished masking off the car, got all the bolt holes all filled in with bolts. That way the threads don't get boogered up because I'm going to be spraying an undercoat. So for the material, we will be using this for undercoat. It's called Worth, the StoneGuard Black. I'll go ahead and spray an epoxy primer sealer underneath. I'm thinking 1 or 2 coats of that just to make sure we get everything covered. What that's going to do is prevent rust from happening, so we don't have any rust issues in the future. But yeah, we'll go ahead and spray this on top of that epoxy primer. And then we will do color and then clear coat on top of that. I'm not actually going to show the color yet because we want to just try and save that for a little bit of surprise down the road. But all this will be just a one-shot, one-go system where epoxy primer will go on, the coating for the StoneGuard will go on, and then color, and then clear coat. We're running the AkzoNobel Sikkens line. That is their highest performance line. And then for the clear coat, I'm also going to be mixing in the Flex additives, so that way the clear coat isn't brittle and doesn't chip or anything like that, because it's going to be underneath the car, and there's going to be stones that get kicked up from your tires. So yeah, this is going to be a long night for me. I'm sorry I can't show you guys the color just yet. The color that we are spraying on the car though, it is a very nice color, and I cannot wait to show you guys in the future what it actually is. But yeah, here we go. This is gonna be a long night. All right, so I finished spraying multiple coats on the bottom of this thing. I think I finished at 5 a.m. actually. It is now 8 p.m. It is dried off. There's a 24-hour window per the spec sheet on when you can do a top coat. So we'll go ahead and start spraying some color now. So this is super exciting. Unfortunately, like I said, we're doing a color reveal later in the future. So for right now, you guys are going to have to watch in black and white. Here we go.